Instructional designers, trainers, and educators often refer to these three categories as KSA: knowledge, self, and analysis. Cognitive domain is the lowest domain. The cognitive domain involves knowledge and the development of intellectual skills. This includes the recall or recognition of specific facts, procedural patterns, and concepts that serve in the development of intellectual abilities and skills. There are six major categories of cognitive processes, starting from the simplest to the most complex. Here in this slide, you can see these are the six levels of cognitive domain, starting from the lower order to the higher order. Knowledge is the first, then comprehension, then application, analysis, synthesis, and evaluation. Now we see in brief level. Definition of the knowledge means factual knowledge of specific terminology. Suppose if you have knowledge of some concept, maybe Einstein's principle or relativity, Einstein principle, some other Newton's law, you can say that's the knowledge of terminology. Wage and means, universal axioms and or abstractions accepted by the field or discipline. Principles and generalizations, theories and structures. So all these things means you know the basic things. You are aware with the fact and the knowledge. Behavioral learning outcome. Ability to recall, appropriate, learn information on command. Cognitive learning outcome, lowest level of learning outcome. Key phrases or assessment. These are very important for a teacher. See, Bloom's taxonomy is very useful when you are going to set a question paper, to a tool to assess the student. So when we try to assess students, we can use these words which are related, synonyms, or you can say similar words, not synonyms, similar words, which can be judge the knowledge of the student. So we can say ask, arrange following things in order. Define some concept, duplicate, label, list, memorize, name the various elements of IC engine, maybe order, recognize, relate, recall, repeat, reproduce, state, describes, enumerates, identifies, matches, read, record, select, views, and writes. So these are different similar words which can be used if you are asking student about their knowledge of something or some concept. So these are the words which we can use. And this is the lowest level knowledge as per the Bloom's taxonomy. Teaching learning methods for this lecture, memorization, readings, video, web information, and assessment we can do by question answer using limited answers, student recitations, and other type of method. Second level is the comprehension. Means understanding the meaning of information and materials. Means you understand. Understand means your knowledge is little more than knowledge. You have better than knowledge. Maybe you understand it well. Behavioral learning outcome, maybe being able to translate materials. So this is how we can judge. Means able to translate materials from one form to another by explaining, summarizing, and predicting consequences or effects. So understanding means this. What we can judge as better understanding means by this translation from one form to other form. Cognitive learning outcome, it represents the lowest level of understanding and interpretation of rote factual information. Key phrases for assessment means keywords which can use for assessment or for this comprehension. Classify, cite, convert, describe, discuss, estimate, explain, generalize, give, Example, make make sense out of uh, paraphrases, restate, summarize, trace, understand, express, identify, indicate, locate, recognize, report, review, select, translate, and restrict. So these are the similar words which anyone can be used in your question to assess the comprehension. This again method may be reading, graphing, and organization, and assessment may be by oral assessment, by clickers, 1 minute paper, quiz, questions for convergent, limited answers, student presentations, demonstrations. Any way we can assess. Maybe we can talk to a student, you can present on this topic, or you can judge orally, or you can ask question, quiz, whatever, written or verbal. Third level of cognitive domain is application. It means using information and materials to solve new problems or respond to concrete situations that have a single or best answer. So this is the meaning of application. Means we can use it to solve some problem. The concept can be used, apply to solve some typical problem. What is the attitude or how outcome, how we see apply learned material such as rules, methods, concepts, principles, laws, and theories. And this is also cognitive learning outcome involve a comprehension and understanding of the content and structure of the material. What are the key word, similar words for application? Apply, choose, demonstrate, dramatize, employ, illustrate, interpret, operate, practice, schedule, sketch, solve, use, write, act, administer, articulate, assess, charts, collect, compute, construct, contribute, control, determine, develop, discover, establish, extend, implement, include, inform, instruct, operationalize, participate, predict, prepare, preserve, produce, project, provide, relate, reports, shows, teaches, transfers, uses, utilizes. So why so many words are given? Because you can select any one as per your English grammar and whichever is fit to your sentence or to your topic. Now, teaching learning method for this application, we can give some case study, we can give some text problem, we can give some scenario analysis, we can give other way. So these are the similar ways. Assessment, maybe student presentation for instructor or evaluator, and maybe you can give these words, apply, use, solve, demonstrate, employ, problem set like this. Now, fourth level of cognitive domain is analysis. And analysis is possible only when lower three level are not, you can say, applied or student experienced lower levels, then you can. So decomposing material into their component parts so that they can be examined and understood. The student is able to develop multiple conclusions concerning the motives, causes, inferences, and generalizations that can be derived from the materials, component, part, and organization. And learning outcome involve a comprehension and understanding of the content and structure of the material. So this is the fourth level, and the word which we use in this are analyze, appraise, calculate, categorize, compare, contrast, criticize, differentiate, discriminate, distinguish, examine, experiment, question, test, break, break down, categorize, correlate, diagram, focus, illustrate, infer, limit, outline, point out, prioritize, recognize, separate, subdivide. And method, again the similar case study or simulation or some or some other method like graphic discussion lab can be used. Exam assessment, uh, maybe some online or some face-to-face examination, test, portfolio entries focused, or other ways, essays, clinical experiences in case of medical science, and student presentation. These are the assessment ways. Now, next level is a synthesis. Using new and creative applications of prior knowledge and skills. Here, this is a sufficient knowledge is should have by the student, then he can do this synthesis part or this level. Here, the student's ability to produce a new or original end product. Examples include a unique communication plan of operations, research proposal, or abstract relations, information classification scheme. Learning outcomes emphasize creativity and the creation of unique patterns or structures. So this synthesis means we apply our earlier earned knowledge for some application. And these are the words which we use for synthesis assessment. Arrange, assemble, collect, compose, construct, create, design, develop, formulate, manage, organize, plan, prepare, propose, set up, write, adapt, adapt, anticipate, collaborate, combine, communicate, complies, devise, express, facilitate, generate, hypothesize, incorporate, individual, individualize, initiates, integrates, intervenes, invents, models, modify, negotiates, progresses, rearrange, reconstruct, reinforce, reorganize, revise, structure, substitute, and validate. And methods for this is maybe research lab, development, case studies, uh, small group discussion, interview with experts. So these are the a method by which we can judge the synthesis level or how a student is good in this. Assessment, maybe different forms. We can create a work or project, small project, mini project. And the last level of cognitive domain of Bloom's taxonomy is evaluation. So here, judging value of material based on personal values or definite criteria, concerned with evaluating material to determine if it fulfills given purpose. Means we want to evaluate. Criteria may be internal, like organization defined by student, or external, relevant to the purpose provided to the student. Learning outcome, maybe student is able to produce an end product that fulfills a given purpose rather than being right or wrong. Learning outcomes, uh, highest because it contains all other categories, earlier categories, and includes value judgments based on clearly defined criteria. Now, the key phrases for this level: apprise, argue, assess, attach, choose, compare, defend, estimate, judge, predict, rate, core, select, support, value, evaluate, contrast, conclude, criticize, critique, decide, interpret, justify, and refute. Uh, this method we can use as a case study or a small group discussion, and we can learn that. Assessment part maybe evaluate, argue, assess, defend, judge, predict, rate. These are different words again. We can assess by these. Now, these are the, we have discussed till now, the cognitive domain. of the and lowest level of the Bloom's taxonomy. Second domain is affective domain, which affect to the person. So skills in the affective domain describe the way people react emotionally and their ability to feel other living things, pain or joy. Affective objectives typically target the awareness and growth in attitudes, emotion and feelings. There are 5 levels in the affective domain, moving through the lowest order processes to the highest. Similar to cognitive domain, here we have 5 categories. Cognitive, we had the 6 categories. So, which are the 5 categories? Receiving, responding, valuing, organizing, and characterizing. These are the showing diagrammatic presentation, Bloom's taxonomy, and affective domains are these shown in the figure. Receiving phenomena, responding, valuing, and inter. So these are the different organizing and characterizing. Affective domain, for more detail, we can see awareness, willingness to hear, selected attention. Responding to phenomena means attend and reacts to a particular phenomena. Learning outcomes may emphasize compliance in responding, willingness to respond, or satisfaction in responding. Evaluating means the worth or value of a person. Value a person attaches to a particular object, phenomena, or behavior. This range from simple acceptance to more complex state of commitment. Organization organizes values into priorities by contrasting different values, resolving conflicts between them, and creating a unique value system. The emphasis is on comparing, relating, and synthesizing. Internalizing values means has a value system that controls their behavior. The behavior is pervasive, consistent, predictable, and most importantly, characteristic of the learner. We see now detail receiving. It is the lowest level of affective domain. Student passively pays attention. Without this level, no learning can occur. Like you people, I'm speaking and you are receiving. So receiving is about the student's memory and recognition as well. Example, maybe observe, be conscious, realize, be sensitive, attend, listen, discriminate, be alert, cooperative, cooperate, contribute, and volunteer. Second level is the responding. The student activity participates in the learning process. Not only attend to stimulus, the student also react in some way. Means you are attending and asking question also. So that is the responding level. Willing, comply, obey, look, engage, display, practice, respond, prefer, accept, devote, is loyal to, exhibit, consider, participate, extend, or enrich, explore. Third level of affective domain is valuing. The student attaches a value to an object, phenomena, or piece of information. Means कितना useful है हमारे लिए object or product. The student associate a value or some values to the knowledge they acquire. Example, continuing, desire, grow, feel, participate, assume responsibility, enable, irritate, initiate, example. Next level is organize. So organizing, student can put together different values, information, and ideas, and can accommodate them within his or her on schema. The student is comparing, relating, the elaborating on what has been learned. So organizing is the next level, high level, and here we utilize form judgment, relate,
कौन
weigh,
सा बोल
is realistic, judge, and regulate. Characterizing is the highest level of this affective domain. The student at this level tries to build abstract knowledge. Examples: ready, revise, change, view, approach, plan, arrive, relay, examine, and judge. These are the second level. Now we come to the third
awesome
uh,
presentation.
uh, type of the psychomotor domain is related with action based. Here we take action, we implement, we do it. So skills in the psychomotor domain describe ability to physically manipulate a tool or instrument like a hand or a hammer. Psychomotor objectives usually focus on change and or development in behavior and oblique skills. Bloom and his colleagues never created subcategories for skills in the psychomotor domain. This figure is showing the different levels of the psychomotor. So these levels are discussed here in this imitation. Include repeating an act that has been demonstrated or explained, and it includes trial and error until an appropriate response is achieved. Imitation means copy karna, repeat karna. Okay, so this is the first. Second is manipulation. Includes repeating an act that has been demonstrated or explained, and it includes trial and error until an approximate response is achieved. Precision is the next level. Response is complex and performed without hesitation. Next is articulation. Skills are so well developed that the individual can modify movement patterns to fit special requirements or to meet a problem situation. And last is the naturalization.
मैं जाऊँ
Naturalization response is automatic. One acts without thinking. I, re- I request all of you to mute your system so that there may not be any disturbance.
मेरा तबीयत भयानक अरे कम से कम नाश्ता वास्ता तो करवा दीजिए भोर से खटवा लिए अब
I
भेज रहे हैं
request I request all of you to mute your system so may not disturb.
हैंडराइटिंग बना के शुद्ध शुद्ध हिंदी शुद्ध शुद्ध
I think everyone should mute the system
बराबर बनाई देती हूँ मैच
so
पढ़
that
रही हूँ क्या
it may not be any disturbance.
to keep unmute,
हाँ
sir.
जिष्णु
I request all the participants please mute your system so that we may not get disturbed. Yeah.
ऐसा
The
था
labels the levels of this psychomotor domain are categorized like reflex means objectives not usually written at this low level. These are reflected. Fundamental movements applicable mostly to young children like crawl, run, jump, reach, change direction. These are some for young babies, children who are having psychomotor. This perceptual abilities like catch, write, balance, distinguish, manipulate. Physical abilities means stop, increase, move quickly, change, react. Skill movements, play, hit, swim, dive, use, non-discursive communication, express, create, mime, design, interpret. These are various words at various categories, and this complete uh, original uh, Bloom's taxonomy. And as we have seen, it was revised in 2001 by one of the student of Bloom, and that is Lauren Anderson name. And another colleague is David Krathwell, revisited the cognitive domain and made some changes. They have made some in terminology in cognitive domain. They made these changes, changing the names in the six categories from noun to verbs, creating a process and levels of knowledge matrix and rearranging them. So that much they have done. Now we see updated Bloom's taxonomy. Originally, Bloom's taxonomy was one dimensional with an exclusive focus on the knowledge domain. The current updated version, developed by Anderson and Krathwohl, reorganizes and highlights the interactions between two dimensions, cognitive processes and knowledge content. Cognitive processes are presented as verbs and the knowledge content are presented as nouns. Exchange of the levels of evaluation and synthesis, which renamed to creation. Here you can see what are the changes. These are the original words like knowledge, comprehension, application, analysis, synthesis, evaluation. And the change is knowledge means remembering, understanding, applying, analyzing, evaluating, and creating. So these are the new word and these are the old one. And we have shown the new levels in the hierarchical structure like this. They redefined knowledge dimension. Factual knowledge, the basic element of a discipline that a student must know and be able to work with to solve problems, including basic terminology and specific details and elements. Conceptual knowledge, interrelationship between basic factual knowledge that demonstrate how elements work together. For example, classifications and categories, principles and generalizations and theories, model and structure. Procedural knowledge, how something is done, including the methods of inquiry, skills, algorithms, techniques, and methods needed to investigate, apply, or analyze information. Metacognitive knowledge, awareness and knowledge of one's own cognition, including strategies for learning, contextual and conditional knowledge about cognitive tasks and self-knowledge. Now, behavioral objectives, they specify the level, criteria, or standards for the knowledge. Skills, abilities, competencies, attitudes that students are expected to be able to demonstrate. Conditions under which students should be able to demonstrate contain active verbs and measurable. Capable of being measured by more than one assessment tool, instrument, or metric. Now, application of taxonomy. This is more important for you people. As a teacher, we can incorporate questions in the uh, question paper. We can give different questions which will give the knowledge level to the evaluate level. Means we can fix maybe 50% level question are from the knowledge domain and understanding. and let remaining 50% or 40% maybe with that further higher level. So we can say developed applications means developed to provide a framework for organizing a continuum along an underlying structure. Primarily, they provide instructors with a focus for developing their course learning objectives. We can identify CO, course outcome, or different PO and PO, which we are the important part of the out-based outcome-based education, OB, can be used to increase one's understanding of the educational process. So teachers can see and understand complex cognitive development of lower level skills into higher order thinking, offers a guiding framework for breaking criteria down into accessible chunks which can be used to direct day-to-day lesson plans. Can be used as a checklist to ensure that all levels of domain have been assessed. See, objective is a good question paper is that which has some question of each level. Maybe you divide key 30% or 40% is the knowledge understanding level, and maybe a further higher level maybe remaining 80%, and you can have decide. Developing align assessment methods with the appropriate lessons and methodologies. Important to establish intended learning outcomes in teacher or student interaction so that both understand the purpose of the interactions. Developing intended student learning outcomes according to Bloom's taxonomy helps students understand what is expected of them. It helps teachers to plan and deliver appropriate instruction. It helps faculty to design and implement appropriate assessment tasks, measures, and instruments. So these are the various applications we can see which faculty can use in day-to-day their teaching and learning. Now, implications. Bloom's taxonomy serves as the backbone of many teaching philosophies, in particular those that lean more towards skills rather than content. Bloom's taxonomy can be used as a teaching tool to help balanced assessment and evaluative questions in class, assignments, and texts to ensure all order all orders of thinking are exercised in students learning, including aspects of information searching. So friends, and this is all about the Bloom's taxonomy. Now we are open to questions. Anyone, some suggestion, some question, some query, you are free to ask, because the basic concepts, their application of the original taxonomy and the revised one I have discussed, and I have also told. But see, this is important, as Professor Rathi told on the beginning, that this is useful because NBA or graduate outcomes, which you have seen yesterday in my talk, there are 12 graduate outcomes decided by the Washington Accord or NBA. I have visited more than 50 institutes during NBA visit as an expert from Government of India, and I find that the faculty members have only superficial knowledge of outcome based education, because they may hire some consultant, and consultant may help them to prepare the SAR and submit the SAR to the NBA. But that is not. One should know clearly the CO, course outcome, program outcomes, and other POs, and how they map. That is important. So I have given even number of talks also on this COPO mapping and NBA this outcome. So Bloom's taxonomy is useful because when you set a question paper, it should not consist of all the numericals or all theories, or it may be the mainly we can divide our question paper in percentage wise that these cognitive levels of the six levels must be ensured. Some questions must assess them, so we can have such a question paper which is there. And another thing in NBA which is asked, they are asking also that which question is appropriate to measure which CO, which address which CO, course outcome. So this is the relevance and importance of Bloom's taxonomy. Thank you for patient hearing. I can hand over to Professor Rathi. Maybe if you have any query, you can ask.
Wait for a few more minutes because
Yeah.
our session will be 11:30. But still, we can invite some questions
Yes.
from the participant. And my humble suggestion, you may take a request to all the participant is, please don't take it as a theoretical concept. These are most practical aspects of teaching. Your entire teaching methodology will make a complete change the moment you understand what Bloom taxonomy is. I just give a simple example and what I have been following this Bloom taxonomy. Say you are setting a paper. For setting a paper, first of all, we had to know the understanding of the knowledge on the part of the students, whether his knowledge on the particular subject is there or not. Say one part, say part one, set few questions, giving say 5 marks, giving 5 marks to each questions, 4 5 questions, just to understand the knowledge. Now part B, can up this knowledge, 2 3 questions under these sections. For first things, time is very less because it carries only 5 marks. So the students will, attempt these questions within the limited times. Total hours for the paper, to attempt the paper is 3 hours. He can divide, according to these things. No, and for second part, how he can apply whatever knowledge he has got it, how he can apply that knowledge. Now part C, which and carries maximum marks, say 80 marks, I was allocating only on this part C, where analysis, whether the students is in position to critically analyze what he has studied, whatever knowledge he has got, whatever application he has got it. That is important. Is it right, sir?
Yes, you are absolutely right.
Yes.
Okay, I have some questions.
Yes.
Questions have asked in the chat box. How to identify Bloom's? You can see, I think chat box, some people have asked some questions. So I think we can answer like.
One question is types of.
Yes, synthesis is very important. You can say कि construct a particular model of maybe any object, or you can say write algorithm of particular programming or say. So such questions are synthesis. This is the higher level. Okay, so in such thing, student can apply the basic knowledge and they are learning and creating a new product or assemble a new, you can say, model. That is a synthesis part. Like you in project, student project, we can say this is good example of synthesis. BTech project, yeah.
Synthesis, if if I'm not wrong, means to invent something. Say students can invent whether whether a four-wheeler or a car can runs on battery.
Hmm.
That is the synthesis
Correct.
part of it. To come out
Yes.
something new.
Any other query, please?
And to further add what sir has, I see, taken up this subject. Please remember, this is a concept which is internationally followed, not only in India. Don't have these things. This concept is internationally followed and very meticulously is followed, because it gives you the base. According to that, you can mold your teaching methodology. This is the foundations to change your methodology. Say, you have got a particular subject. Now you are going to the class with a particular subject. Under that subject, you take one topic. While first of all, your main purpose is the student should understand it. The student should learn it. How they will learn it? First of all, you have to make what are the purpose, what is the objective of this, what you are going to get, you are going to learn out of this topic. The moment that concept is clear to the students, their concentrations in the class will be very good, very high. Or say, if a particular subject, you are going to get what you are going to learn out of this subject, and then you can get the response from the students. That subjects you take either through some case study, or you can take this subject through some projects, or you can some assignment for evaluations, whether your subject has been followed by the students or not. Changing your teaching methodology, you can develop the interest on a particular subject of the students. This is the Bloom taxonomy tells. Your entire teaching methodology will change the moment this concept of Bloom taxonomy is clear to you. And therefore, you can set your, you give to the students, you can give to the students based on these things. Whatever the questions are there, say for under synthesis, under evaluations, under knowledge, understanding, these are not the questions. These are the certain words synonymous to each others. Whether they can understand it, they can analyze it, they can evaluate it, they can analyze it. These are the various words which have been used. Sir, one bet device already, and we also know the response. Then how I can say battery is a synthesis part?
Hello.
Can you see this one question which has come in the chat box?
I think you can speak out. I can't see.
Oh.
You can speak out, sir, because I can't see. Please tell
Yes,
me.
one question is there in the chat box. Battery act as a device already, and we also know it is response. How I can say battery is synthesis part? If you allow me to speak,
Please.
from questions, it becomes clear that the participant has not understood what taxonomy, Bloom taxonomy is.
Yes.
Taxonomy as such is not giving any question. It is not generating questions. It is simply laying down certain concept how you can mold your methodologies, and
Right.
how to judge the performance on the part of the students. How you can judge the performance on the part of the students, whether they have understood your subject, whether they have got sufficient knowledge, whether that knowledge can be applied, whether that knowledge can be critically analyzed, based on that knowledge, whether they can invent something, whether they can come out with some new models, whether they can come out with new projects. That is what taxonomy calls about it. Am I?
Yes, yes, you are absolutely right, sir. And
Yeah.
teachers may apply yesterday's talk link with this today's talk, because different methods we saw yesterday how to teach, that can be useful for with Bloom's taxonomy. And Professor Rathi has told correctly, this is the way how you can improve your teaching and you can become a world class and good instructor and good teacher. It is really very sincerely and meticulously followed in abroad and different countries. Here we are maybe not aware or fully or not using it,
Not,
but this is very,
yeah.
very important. And question paper should have some questions related to each level, and that is also, as I told, emphasized in NBA, CO and PO and graduate outcomes. That is 12 outcomes. These are also showing the different levels of the Bloom's taxonomy. Right, sir?
If I share my experience, sir, whenever I was my question paper, I mean,
Yeah.
The moderator was coming to me, Rathi, you had not taken the in context
Yeah.
few of the questions.
Correct.
Say,
So you were there somewhere outside
you right,
earlier?
sir. Yeah, you were. Yes, I was there in some other university, sir. And
Right,
before
right,
that,
right.
I was in the corporate.
Correct.
Say, this entire our discussion, deliberations, like covering another remaining 4 days, is that our teaching should be centric.
Yeah.
Student centric, students based on the requirement of the students, all then teaching will be successful, fruitful. Now, request to the participant is, first of all, we must understand what is student centric teaching. Concept is clear, our entire teaching method change. The way we are teaching, it will altogether different shape. First, we must understand what is student centric teaching. What is students focused in teaching, and how is students based or it is not based. Student centric, students based, students focused, these are all interchangeable words. The purpose is that our teaching should focus on the students. How it can focus? Looking to the needs and requirement of the students. Now, how we can judge the needs part of the students? That is the important questions. And requirement you can judge while on the first day when you enter in the class, take a course handout. I don't know whether some universities, colleges are following this course handout. Otherwise, we are regularly following it. Course handout. The broad, the entire syllabus that you are going to cover in a particular semester. Your first day becomes very, very important. You must inculcate the feeling amongst the students that this subject which I am taking is of very great importance. And in you can understand the need and requirement on the part of the students. I was going to the class, I put a question to the students whether you want to cover this subject based on the theory or based on the practice. And most of the students were coming out. These are all MBA students doing MBA International, MBA HR, these different subjects. And the students who were coming out said, we want practice-based sessions. Now, how a teacher can make a practice-based sessions? That is the you had to tailor your syllabus, your delivery in a way that it becomes practice-based. Practice-based, sir has all project-based study. Now, if I give a case study to the students one day before the class, they will go through the case studies. Next day, they will ask for certain questions. Say, for example, I was taking HR subject for motivations. Now, they do not know anything, ABC, what motivation is, but by studying this case study, they came to the words motivation, they came to the words performance appraisal. Here before, they have no idea. Now, when they go through the case, curiosity arises in their mind, so, and immediately they put in the question, sir, this motivation is not clear to us. Will you explain? Most will come with these questions. Now, given an opportunity to me to explain what motivation is, motivations, how, say, Maslow need hierarchy, which is the most popular theory of motivation. Sir, how this theory can be applied in practice? All these questions will come into the there will be learning on the part of the students. It becomes more practice-based learning. When you deliver your talks, you take the course handouts, you write down, these are the learning outcomes. To understand, to analyze, critically thinking, to make, I will understand how to make decisions. All these things will be your learning outcome. Say on particular subject on motivations, they know, they have understood the concept, they understood the various theories, what are various theories of motivations, and how these various theories can be applied in a practical situations. Now, while setting question paper, first part, what is motivations? You can ask from the students. Now you can set another questions, how motivation under this situation can be applied. Now under third, situations, why some of the employees were not feeling motivated, why some of the employees were feeling motivated, critically analyze the situation, giving a part, some case or case like that depends of your question paper. So my dear participants, don't take this Bloom taxonomy is a very theoretical concept. It is not a theoretical concept. The moment you understand and what are the different words are there, they are the different terminology. The same words, it can be used, different words conveying the same meaning can be used while you design your learning outcome. Hello? Sir, is there?
Can I ask a question, sir, please?
Professor Dangaj? Just a minute, my faculty member. Huh? Yes. नहीं अनाउंस करे फिर आएगा नहीं बोले अभी आएगा नहीं तो अभी क्या बोले टोकन ऑफ एप्रिसिएशन चलने दे अभी यही बोल रहे बट दे आर रेजिंग सम क्वेश्चन
सर एक क्वेश्चन है सर, प्लीज पूछ सकता हूँ क्या?
because Professor Dangais has gone because of some so you are welcome. I will take in the meantime I will take your question.
Sir,
please.
said that
Huh?
battery considered as a part of synthesis. But my question is, battery act as a device already, and
Yes.
we also know its response. Then how I can say battery is synthesis part? Because as we know that in synthesis part we have to find out model.
No, my again request is whatever verbs, adjectives has been given under synthesis part, they are for you to judge the knowledge of the students. Synthesis parts comes say after knowledge, understanding, applications, analysis, and thereafter synthesis part come. And whatever two words has been given, 10, 15 words has been given, that is to judge the knowledge of the students, this thing. You can use any type of words. Question answer does not cover the Bloom taxonomy. Bloom taxonomy just talks about how the learning outcome can come from a particular subject. How to judge the knowledge, how to judge how he can apply the knowledge, how to judge whether he can critically analyze the subject which I have taught as a faculty member to the students or not. Bloom taxonomy talks on those things. Talk about how the battery can be synthesized, how it can be manufactured, how it can be applied. It does not talk on those things. Any doubt? Any more questions? Hello.
Hello.
Topic which we have institution has taken, that advanced teaching methods, the purpose of advanced teaching methodology is not that some technology is coming and replacing the classroom teaching or advanced type of some technology is coming. That is one part. Another part is involvement of the students in the teaching process. How best we can involve our students in the teaching process. All teaching methodologies. So you as a teacher, you as a faculty, how I can design my teaching methodology so that it meets the requirement of the students. I have seen some of the faculty where yesterday also I just cited one brief these illustrations. I was some of the students were moving in front of me. They were just behind to them, and one of the students just they were I mean to each others. One of the students उसकी क्लास में अटेंड करने का क्या फायदा है, उसको तो पीपीटी है, वही पीपीटी चलती आ रही है 2 साल से. I will give those PPT to you and don't attend the class. So the things enters in the mind of the students, and the moment you change your teaching methodology, things will not happen. Students were also आपने जो पढ़ाया है पीपीटी है वो दीजिए. I will not hand over part with my PPTs. That is not your considerations. The students, let them have their own thinking. Otherwise, they will be completely dependent on the faculty. The teachers or the faculty members, the best judge which teaching methodology I should use to meet the requirement of the student. But please, again, I'm making the same statement. So you are the best to out with what is the research? Research is coming out with some new ideas, something novel. Research does not mean that you take a PhD degree, you go for thesis and all those things. That is another part. That is adding your qualification. Research means while taking the class, you can find out, you yourself can find out what teaching methodologies, what teaching practice I should adopt so that my teaching becomes more fruitful, more useful on the part of the students. And for that basis, even if you are taking any subject or theoretical part, you have to make it more practice-based. Understands how many wheels are there in a four-wheeler? How are there in a four-wheeler? With the four. Why four-wheelers are there? Why not three? Why not two? That opens their mind. That opens their mind. And therefore, you must go, whatever subjects, try to go in deep of that subject, try to raise some from that subject so that their mind opens. Some thinking starts on the part of the students. So they also come out with some ideas. अरे गाड़ी में 4 पहिए क्यों होती है, 2 पहिए से क्यों नहीं चलती है, अरे 3 पहिए से क्यों नहीं चल रही है. This type of creativity not attend not attend your, even if they are sitting in that class, their mind is somewhere else. That is not a way of teaching. So with these words, because I also got in between also, I will be interacting to all of you. I'll be also sharing my teaching and my industry experience with you. And my humble suggestion is we go through this Bloom taxonomy. It was designed, coined, the idea was in 1956. And I mean, short of simply some concept, it is a practical concept and widely followed, not only in India, less known to you, but it is widely followed by all universities, internationally followed, because your entire teaching methodology depends on this Bloom taxonomy. And if you do not understand it, we can forward, we can some contact numbers, emails to Professor these things who was taking your sessions. You can again contact to him. He's also have got a very wide experience of teaching, very senior professor of MNITs, done a lot of research in these areas. You are most welcome. But my again mission, all of you is try to go through this Bloom taxonomy, understand it, and try to implement it so that the skills, developments, and learning outcomes are there on the part of the students. So thank you very much for this first sessions. Our another session will start at 12:30, and we also put on record the sessions, delivery sessions, which Professor Dangais has taken. And we put on records a certificate of appreciations and a memento on behalf of Shankara Group of Institutions as a token of love, respect on both parts. And thank you very much. So we will be on our system by 12:30. Thank you very much. मैं सुबह भी बोला था, I was apprehending with you slightly less क्योंकि कल भी थोड़ा सा जल्दी में छोड़ दिया था, लेकिन The certificate of appreciation to Professor Dangait is from Institute of Technology. Dr. Chitrakant Shahu?
Yes,
Hello?
yes. Am I audible,
Yes,
sir?
yes. Yes, yes, audible, very much audible. Good afternoon, sir. I'm Dr. Gatti from Shankara Group of Institutions. I'll be with you during the sessions and moderating.
Okay, okay. Thank you very much, sir.
As per your convenience or as you feel comfortable, in between also you can take some queries of the participants, or as you wish, last 5-10 minutes you can leave for question answer session. And our participants are faculty members, the students, research scholars, people from industry also.
Okay.
And we'll be just after 2-3 minutes we'll be starting, and you can start taking the session.
Sure, sure, sure.
In the previous sessions, Professor Dangais was there from MNIT, your senior colleague.
Yes, yes, yes. I am aware of that.
Yes, he
Mechanical
spoke on.
department.
He's in mechanical department. Yes, he spoke on Bloom taxonomy.
Bloom section. Okay.
So he clarified what Bloom taxonomy is, since when it is there, and what are the importance of this Bloom taxonomy. He elaborated his idea concept, which is of
Okay.
great importance to all of us as a faculty member.
Sure,
And
sure.
yes,
Bloom's taxonomy
is a, yes, yes, is
yeah,
a
it's very
foundation of,
useful. Yeah.
is very useful. The foundations for our teaching professions. All our learning outcome are based on these things.
Yes, yes, yes. Definitely.
Yeah. And yesterday he took a sessions on student-centered teaching.
Okay.
2 sessions were there yesterday. One was student-centered teaching. This professor, this was he took it, and another was pandemic and education by Madam Sipra Singh. She is a director in one of the consulting company, Sketcher. So our this program is workshop is on advanced this teaching methodologies. It is a 5 days durations. Today is the second day of the workshop.
Okay, sir. Today's second.
Yes. Today the second day, and
Three more days are to come.
3 more days will be there.
Okay.
So we have taken this help sports from the academics as well as from people we have called from some industry also.
Okay. So these faculty members is from your institute or sir from other
No,
institutes
from
also?
other institutes, from other institutes.
Okay.
No,
Okay.
no internal, as per the practice of RTU, Rajasthan Technical University, no internal faculty can be there. They
Okay.
are
Okay.
from outside. Say MNIT is one of the good, I mean, these things, well-established university, and we have also taken people from outside academics, from the corporate, so that the participant get a blend of experience of academics and how things takes place in the industry, how it can be related, like that.
Okay, sir. Okay.
Yeah. So welcome you, sir. So
Thank you very much.
yes, before you take the session, it is my opportunity. I take the opportunity to make a brief profile of you before the participants. Dr. Chitrakant Shahu is a professor in the Department of Electronics and Communications, MNIT Jaipur. He received a PhD degree from the Department of Electronics and Communication Engineering, IITDM Jabalpur in 2015. Dr. Shaw's research interest includes low power semiconductor devices and circuits and digital designs. Dr. Shahu has 18 plus international journal publications, 20 conference publications, and 2 book chapters in IIT publication in the UK. His current research worth rupees 35 lakhs funded by the Government of India, Department of Science and Technology, as we call DST, and Ministry of Electronics. Dr. Shahu is an IEEE member and reviewer of different journals. So, lot of credits to you, sir. Looking to your age. So over to you, sir. Over to you.
Okay, thank you very much, sir.
Sir, as per your convenience, as you feel comfortable, so you can invite after, covering some part of the topics, you can invite queries from the participant, or you can speak, the participant can put the queries in the chat box, or you can leave 5-10 last minutes of your session, which is of 90 minutes durations, open to participants for raising their queries, as is convenient to you, sir. Over to you, sir. Over to you.
Okay.
Take the session.
Thank you very much, Dr. Rathi, for introducing me. I would like to thank Sankara Group of Institution for inviting me on this lecture for outcome-based education, okay, on the advanced pedagogy 5-day program that you are running. Okay. So I'll be sharing my presentation. Okay. So
yes, sir. Yes, sir.
yeah.
Thanks a lot, sir. Carry on.
Yeah. Sir, is this slide visible?
Yes, sir. Slide is very much visible.
Okay.
Outcome-based educations. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yes, sir.
So,
Yes,
good afternoon to all the participants again. I am Dr. Chitrakan Sao, Assistant Professor in Department of Electronics and Communication Engineering, MNIT Jaipur. So, I'll be taking the lectures on the outcome-based education. So, these are my outlines of my presentation. So, briefly, I will discuss what is the concept of outcome-based education, why it is needed in current situation, and what is the OBE framework, what are the different outcomes associated with the outcome-based education, how do you compute these attainment of course outcome and program outcomes, and also some the important teaching pedagogy for outcome-based education. So this is the brief outline of my presentation. So, and then finally we summarize about the learnings at the end. So starting with the first slide, the introduction about the outcome-based education. So what is the meaning of outcome-based education? So in short, we write is OB. Okay. So OB is a process that involves the restructuring of curriculum, assessment and reporting practices in education to reflect the achievement of higher order learning and mastery rather than the accumulation of credit courses. So outcome-based education is very different than the traditional teaching method. So in traditional teaching method, we focus on the knowledge. So that is called the teacher centric. Okay, and outcome-based education are considered to be a student centric. So starting with the clear picture of what is the important for a student should be able to do, that is the meaning of outcome-based education. So if we have institution and that institution runs the courses based on the outcome-based education, or they basically follow this practice, so they have the certain goals like that their graduate should be able to demonstrate the mastery in that particular specialization. They should be placed in particular industries, like certain brand of industries. Okay, they should be good in communicator. These are all the important skills of an engineer. Okay, so outcome-based education is a philosophy that caters all those things. So the first important point is that what the student should be able to do after graduating from the institute. That is the philosophy of outcome-based education. And then accordingly, that we need to decide what is the curriculum to taught to the student, what are the delivery method or teaching learning practices should be involved to teach the students, and then also we need to take care about the assessment, what kind of assessment we should take, so that student will be judged properly based on the three key attributes. So outcome based education has three main attributes, that is called the knowledge, skills and behavior. So if I go why this OB is important, because stakeholders, might aware that what are the stakeholders. So stakeholder of any institute may be the faculty members, the parents, students, the alumni, industry persons, as well as the society, in some cases government institution, maybe government also. These are the stakeholders of any institutions. So what they are expecting, so they are expecting that infrastructure should be good, their building and facility should be good, enough for the teaching learning process, their faculty should adopt good teaching learning practices. This institution must have the good industry interaction with especially branded industries. Like if we talk about electronics and communication, they should have some industry interaction. Most of the students are going for internship to the some industries like Intel, Qualcomm, and many more companies. Okay, similarly applicable for the all engineering disciplines. And the most important is employability, so that employability of the student is taken care properly or not. Okay, so after getting the graduation from the institution, students are employable or not employable. Okay, that is always a question mark. And in India we have a survey that says that around 30 to 40% engineers that are producing, they are employable. Okay, so for to take care of those kind of things, that is the requirement has become the outcome based education. Means outcome in terms of students, that what student should have certain knowledge, they should have skills, and they should have certain behaviors. So skills, so that they can work on the different companies, and behavior, that they should be loyal to the company, they should have good communication skills, they should have good management practices. Okay, all those things are necessary. So whether the institution will provide all that necessary for a confident engineer of tomorrow, prepare a 21st century engineer. Okay, so these are the expectation from a stakeholders. So because of that, the outcome-based education come into the picture. So another important thing is globalization. So nowadays, in compared to 20th century, 21st century, we are more global in nature, because we know in terms of connection through internet, we know what are the syllabus of the different universities, Oxford University, MITs, all those things. Okay, and there is a one body that called Washington Accord, that Washington Accord will take care of the graduates. They should have certain minimum quality maintained through accreditation process. Okay, so that then they are recognized to work in the different countries. Okay, so that's why it's make very important that we should practice the outcome based education. So main focus of the outcome based education is understanding fundamentals very well and learning new skills, competencies that work enable individual to cope up with the demand of rapidly changing workplace. Okay, so we should do the exercise regularly regarding the curriculum development as per the industry need. We need to update our curriculum, and what are the expectation from the students, those are coming recently. Okay, and what are the new upcoming fields are coming in the engineering domain. Accordingly, we should be prepared. Okay, and prepare global engineers who will have to we have some to solve some problems and shoulder challenges which are not even known today. So we have to make a good engineer that will basically help the society to grow more. Okay, so this is the philosophy of outcome based education. So let's go back and we'll see what are the limitations of traditional education system. So in the traditional education system, basically the learning was towards exam oriented. So they are only focusing on the knowledge part. Okay, they are not focusing on the skill and behavior. Okay, so it is observed that in traditional education system, most of the students are aware about the CGPA. Okay, so what CGPA they will get after the graduation. Accordingly, they will apply for job and all. Okay, but these companies nowadays has changed the scenario. They are looking for more competencies, not only about the knowledge. Okay, so graduates are not completely prepared for the workforce. Okay, so that is the traditional disadvantage of the education system. So lack of emphasis on the soft skills so needed in job. Okay, that is very much needed in job. Communication skills, interpersonal skills, analytical skills, okay, working attitude, all those are very important nowadays for getting a good job. Okay, so there is a survey conducted by the different employer, one of the employer, that I'm going to just list up the attributes, what are the expectation from a employer from a skilled engineer. Okay, they are looking for what kind of quality they have. Okay, so they required a good communication from the students. They required the integrity, honesty, teamwork skills, interpersonal skills, strong work ethics, motivation and initiatives, flexibility and adaptability, analytical skills, computer skills, organization skills, okay, detail oriented, leadership skills, self confidence. So such like there are 20 attributes are there. Okay, and in 20 attributes, if you go for a traditional teaching method, so that is a teacher centric approach, where the teacher will deliver the lecture and student will grasp the things, and and they appear for the examination, and they'll find out the grades. So they are mostly focus on the percentage and CGPA. Okay, but here you looking into the number of different activity, you can say different attributes. There are 20 attributes required, okay, from a international company, okay, to hire any graduate. Okay, so that is why a need of outcome based education has been arise, and we are practicing in one of the practicing in most of the institution in India nowadays. Okay, so what is the difference between the traditional and outcome-based education? So traditional uh, uh, methods involve the planning, teaching, and assessment. Also, here student-centric approach also required planning, teaching, and assessment. But what is the difference? That their methodology are based on the not transmitting the knowledge and understanding of ideas and values to the students, and their assessment is are based on the how well student have received the knowledge. Okay, but in outcome based education system we are discussing about the ILOs. Okay, so ILOs learning outcomes. Okay, so intended learning outcomes. So we need to assess the learning outcomes of student, whether they have understood the outcomes of that curriculum or outcome of the program, or whether they have matching with the vision mission, of how much they contributed, how basically learning outcomes are achieved or not achieved. Okay, so that philosophy has been a different philosophy compared to the traditional teaching method. Okay, and so if you go into the detail, so traditional education system focus on input. So basically, so though focus on inputs, for the what are the inputs of any educational system? So that the teaching steps, curriculum, labs, and other resources. Okay, and assessment mainly through examination, test, assignments. Okay, and some quality control from the teaching evaluation process. Okay, so the teaching learning process is always involved, and then the result is the students at the graduation. Okay, but if you see about the OBE system, okay, in OBE system they have two more outcomes. Okay, so input and process are remain same, but in the outcome side you can see there are two things: short term goals and long term goals. Okay, so OBE shift from measuring the input and process to include measuring the output or outcome. So the short term goals are called the program and subject outcome. Okay, and that is involved in the teaching learning process, and the long term process are called the program educational outcome. Okay, and that program educational outcome means the graduate has to fulfill the stakeholder satisfaction, as we discussed in the first slide. What is the expectation from the stakeholders? So that need to be also be measured. Okay, so in case of a OBE system. So in OBE system, there will have checks on the content delivery, also what contents you are going to deliver to the students, okay, and how they respond, okay, and they will take two different methods of assessment: direct assessment, indirect assessments, okay, and then there will some feedback from the industry, alumni, and other stakeholders, how these programs of a departments are doing well or not, and whether continuous improvement has been observed over the period of time or not. So these are the inherent properties of the OBE system. Okay, so OBE system, if you summarize, you can see there are three, four things. One is called the stakeholders. With the involvement of the stakeholder, institutes makes the vision and mission. Okay, and vision and missions can be correlated with the program educational objectives. As I told, program educational objectives are nothing but this is a long-term goal. So where after starting a program after 20-25 years, what will be the outcomes of that program in an institution? Okay, and similarly, program outcomes for each year. What is the outcome of a program? Okay, if we are talking about UG engineering program or mechanical engineering, so what is the outcome of a UG engineering program? Okay, and then we further will go to the each course or subject level, that is called the course outcomes. Okay, and there are continuous quality index we need to continuous assessment is required, analysis is required. Okay, so all those things means quality check at every stages: course outcome, assessment and analysis, okay, program outcome, assessment and analysis by direct method, indirect method, again program educational objective after few years, okay, the check from the feedback from the alumni and parents and employer. So these are the complete overflow of the but whether we have get secure continuous quality improvement or not, okay, in each of the scenario, that is the basic building block of a outcome based education system. So outcome-based education system has, if we go from a top to bottom approach, we have a education that shows that what students should be able to do. Okay, then we decide the curriculum. Okay, how to make the student achieve the outcome. So by curriculum, we make the system to make achieve the outcome, and then we have the teaching and learning process, that whether what we decided has been measurable or not. Okay, we can measure with certain method. Okay, for that measurement we required some assessment techniques. Okay, and from the assessment we should able to quantify the things, whether we are progressing in the correct fashion or not. So this is the key attributes of the outcome-based education. We have the first one, that is called the design phase, and second is called implementation. So design phase starts from the vision and mission of the institute. Okay, so what is the vision of the institute and what are the mission of the institute? Vision is a philosophical term, means how after 20-25 years, 30 years long term plan, what is where we want to see yourself, that is called the vision, right? And mission means how we are going to achieve, what are the steps we are going to take. Okay, and that decides as a institute level as well as for the program level, department level. Okay, and then we need to talk about the program educational objective, and then program outcomes, and then course outcomes. So these are the designing process. But implementation, if we talk about the implementation part, so how to implement this outcome based education philosophy? So that implementation parts is going from the bottom to top. Okay, how it is implemented at the subject level, then the program level, then for long time, and then after that whether through that whether correct step has been taken, whether the mission planned is proper or not, and whether we are reaching towards the complete vision or not. So that is called the implementation, and implementation will be always from the bottom to top. Okay, so let's just brief about the what is the vision and mission. So vision is a futuristic statement that the institution department would like to achieve over a long period of time. Okay, and what is the difference between vision and mission? Mission is the means to achieve. Okay, with some example, let's say our vision is to create the high quality professionals, high quality engineering professionals. Okay, so this is our futuristic statement. Okay, and mission can be that offering how we are going to achieve the offering a well balanced program of instructions. So we have to offer a BTech in mechanical engineering to achieve the high quality engineering professionals, and then providing a practical experience as well as providing opportunity for the overall personality development. So this can be a mission of the department. And then comes to the another part that I said, that is it is called the long-term goal. Okay, program educational objective. So program educational objective of a long-term goal of a department or program. Okay, so program educational objective is a broad statement that describes the career and professional achievements that program is preparing the graduate to achieve. So how to define the program educational objective? So program educational objective guidelines are there. The PO should be consistent with the mission of the institute. Okay, and this PO should not be made arbitrarily, and they should have a correlation with the mission of the institute. And mission, we know that it is going towards the vision. Okay, the number of PO should be manageable and achievable by the program. We should not make a X number of POs. That should be manageable and achievable. Okay, and the PO should be specific to the program and not too broad. And it should be a particular, suppose it is related to the UG, there will be a separate PO. If it is a PG program, there will be a separate PO. If it is a department, then there will be a separate PO for that. So PO should be based on the need of constituencies. What is the need that our long-term goal after learning 4 years of graduation from the department, after let's say 10-20 years, what should we expect from our alumni? That is called the program educational objectives. So the example of a program educational objective, the electrical engineering, I'm giving the example. So electrical engineering graduate will be employable in diversified sectors of the industry, government organization, public sectors and multinational corporations, and pursue higher education in electrical engineering or other field of interest at the institute of repute and high standards. So this can be one of the PO. Okay, and the graduate will demonstrate measurable progress in the field they pursue. Okay, measurable progress means suppose they joined as a assistant manager in some of the institute, but over the period of time they can be promoted to at the level of manager. Okay, that is called the measurable progress. So institute department should be in continuously touch with their stakeholder and monitor their progress as well, so that will be reflected as a outcome of the program. And then third one is the graduate will able to communicate effectively, adopt lifelong learning, act with integrity, and have interpersonal skills needed to change in lead and nurture in diverse in team with commitment to their ethical and social responsibilities. So these are the various factors involved in the program educational objectives. I'm not going into the details of that. I'll just quickly going all those OBE framework. Okay, so next point is called the graduate attributes, or you can say it is provided by the generally if you're going for a accreditation process. So outcome-based education become very essential for that. And with the involvement of Washington Accords, as I told, Washington Accord has graduate attributes that is called as a program outcome by NBA in India, and both graduate attributes and program outcomes are equal. And these are the nothing but the knowledge. These 12 program outcomes are nothing but knowledge, skills, and behaviors should be inculcated in it after reading the 4-year subject course in the department. It is expected from that student. So the student is expected should have first is engineering knowledge. Okay, they should have good fundamentals in engineering and their specialized program. they should have the capability of problem analysis, okay, and they should have, in terms of design development of solution, they should design some products, okay, in the relevant field of engineering, conduct investigation of complex problems, okay, they should independently conduct investigations, okay, related to what they have studied in the last 4 years, and modern tool uses, okay, whether these are the basically related to the knowledge and skills part of the student, okay. And then behavioral part, so behavioral part will consist of the engineering in society, what is after being an engineer, how it will serve to the society, environment and sustainability, okay, and ethics. So every engineer should have a practice the ethics, individual and teamwork. So every job, if we go by uh, every job, we need is that we need to work as a team, okay. So they should have a team working skills, communication verbal as well as the written communication skills by writing, like writing projects and all, okay, manage group project management in finance, lifelong learning. So these are the behavioral aspects of a program outcome, okay. So apart from that, there is a another thing that is called a program specific outcome. So what is that program specific outcome? So it is beyond the 12 uh, beyond POs, that is the program outcomes. So beyond POs, it is specific to the particular program, because the 12 number has been fixed by the NBA of India, okay. And if like it is called the USP, unique selling point of the program. Suppose MNIT has one program, electronics and communication engineering. So what is the unique selling point of that program? If we have some program in the RTU, so what is the unique selling point of that mechanical engineering in RTU? So that is called the program specific outcome, okay. And it is changing with respect to program, and especially it should be in 2 to 4 in number, okay, and must have process to arrive them, okay. And so there should be a proper workflow, that how you have defined the program specific outcomes, okay, by some committee members, group of faculty members, and taken some feedback from the industry, some feedback from the uh, students as well as the alumni, okay, and some from the academic associates. All those things need to be monitored, and it has to be recorded, so that you come to the conclusion that this is the program specific outcome of a program for a engineering program. So program curriculum and other activities during the program must help the achievement of POs with the POs. So basically, ultimately, they are correlating with the curriculum. Okay, so they should be curriculum should be designed in such a way that this should cater about the program outcomes and program specific outcome. They should fulfill. That is why it is called outcome based education. Okay, the suppose examples of a program specific outcome, how it can be written. So specify, design, prototype, and test modern electronic system that perform analog and digital processing functions. So this can be one of the program specific outcome, because in as an electronic engineer student go through the analog and digital processing units, okay, and they learn different subjects related to the analog and digital operation, and they should able to make and design a prototype related to that particular subject. And then second example, architect, partition, and select appropriate technologies for implementation of a specified communication system. So this can be another, because there are different communication modules they study in the fourth 1 to 4 year of their graduation, and they able to implement or make a good communication system after 4 year of study. So that is called the program specific outcome, okay. And the lowest part of the outcome, that is called the course outcome, and this is very very important, and uh, every teacher should understand that what is the course outcome is, okay, because they are going to monitor these course outcomes, okay. And if and course outcomes will be directly correlated with the students, okay. And what is their performance in the outcomes that can be measured by a teacher, okay. So statements of observable student action, that serve as a evidence of, like as we discussed, three things are important: knowledge, skills, and attitudes, okay. so acquired by a course. Okay, so these are defined in particular fashion. So generally they should be in 4 to 6 numbers. Okay, the key purpose that it has just to be a realistic chance of being accomplished within a semester. So this course outcome is for within a semester. Remember, I told the program outcome is for a complete program, but course outcome is for a particular semester, a particular subject. It can be it is for every subject, even for the laboratory course, project, seminars. All those should have a course outcome. Means what the student will able to do after learning the technical seminar, what student will able to do after basically doing the project, final year project, what is expected from them. So these are called the course outcomes. So, and the course outcome should be measurable. That is very, very important. They should not be just like a abstract kind of thing. They should be properly measurable. There should be a how we can measure those course outcomes that we need to take care as a teacher. So POs are attained through the program specific courses. Okay, so that is why program specific courses should have the course outcomes. Okay, so for example, one of the teacher has written these are the is a course outcome: CO1, CO2, CO3, CO4, and CO5. In most of the cases, they have written is understand the knowledge, understand fundamental, understand role, understand basically laser physics, understand theory of. So understand. He has written all the cases understand. So this is not a good practice of writing the course outcomes. So we need to think about in terms of Bloom's taxonomy. Okay, so as we you have already had a lecture in the Bloom's taxonomy, so might be remembering the higher order thinking. What are the higher order thinking? That applying, analyzing, evaluating, creating, right? So the first two lower levels are the understanding. So if I write the course outcome only related with the understanding, then how I am going to achieve the higher order thinking in that particular subject we are teaching, right? So we need to frame these course outcomes related to the course in such a way that at least we should if it is a lower level courses like first year, second year, then we can go up to 3 or 4 levels. Okay, and then if it is a design level kind of thing, okay, involved in the subject as well as a project, so that they can go up to the higher level thinking, that is up to evaluating and creating. Okay, so for example, this is very, very important. Okay, for example, let's say we talk about electronics engineering, we studied about the Kirchhoff current law. Okay, so Kirchhoff, what is the definition of the Kirchhoff current law? That algebraic sum of the current reaching at particular node should be equal to 0. Okay, that is, so this is the statement. Then if students remember this statement, that is called the remembering part. Understanding means that if in a particular node some of the currents are the outgoing nodes, some of the current are incoming nodes, right? Because the current is because of the electrons, and electrons cannot be at the certain point. Flow of electrons are called current, incoming current, outgoing current. So this is called the understanding of the concept. Okay, and then applying. So if they go to the lab and do some experiment on the electronic circuit, okay, and they observe the Kirchhoff current law in that particular circuit, that is called the applying. Okay, analyzing example is that suppose in a laboratory it is a given problem that this is network is given to you, find out the current in particular specified branch with 4 ohm resistor. Okay, so that particular value, a particular branch has been assigned, so they will analyze the concept of the Kirchhoff current law in every branch, and then we'll able to say that what will be the over current in the 4 ohm branch. Okay, and this is called analyzing. And then if you go further, evaluating. So evaluating means if we say give 3 net, instead of giving 1 network, we'll give 3 networks. So if we give 3 networks, then they ask to evaluate that, find out what is the resemblance of this Kirchhoff current law in the 3 networks, how they are affecting these different networks, and which network is considered to be optimum design for in terms of a Kirchhoff current law. Okay, all those things are come to the evaluating. And then last point is called creating. So creating means they come up, a student after doing some exercise in the practicals, they come up with a new design, a new circuitry where they apply their own knowledge. That is called the creating stage. So these different understanding are required. So our course outcome should map to all this Bloom's taxonomy. Okay. So if you write only understand related problems, is we discuss in the course outcome, so there should be no mapping. So we also have to look the program outcomes. As we know that the first program outcome is related to engineering knowledge. So engineering knowledge says that apply the knowledge of mathematics, science, and engineering. So it is related to apply, not only related to remember and understand. So if you see, if you have written the course outcomes related to remember and understand, that means there is no resemblance with the program outcomes. So ultimately our course outcomes should map with the program outcomes. Otherwise there is a no meaning, right? So that is why if you write apply knowledge, then it can be easily correlated with the program outcomes. And then if you say that the Bloom's level is analyzed, then it can be written as PO2, problem analysis. Identify, formulate, review, and research literature, analyze the engineering problems. So this comes into the category of PO2. Okay. And then third one is evaluate. So if we ask to evaluate some kind of circuits, okay, so that is related with the design and development of solutions. Okay, so easily if you use these different keywords while rating the course outcome, then it will be helpful to map our course outcome with the program outcome. So this is the what is the structure of a course outcome, what should it is expected, how it should be written. So it should have an action word that identify performance to be demonstrated. So what performance it is expected, then it has to be a action word. So then we should have a learning statement also. Okay, so learning statements that specify what learning will be demonstrated in the performance. Okay, so examples of the good action verbs, these are the some examples of a good action verb: compile, identify, create, plan, revise, analyze. So all these things we can borrow from the Bloom's taxonomy. Okay, so some of the examples of the course outcomes, let's say strength of material is a one subject. In that there are some course outcomes are written like that. So apply the law of physics, let's say Hooke's law, to compute the different types of responses, stress and deformation in given material. So this can be one course outcome, and it is easily correlated with the program outcome one. Okay. Second, analyze structural elements of different force system to compute design parameters. Okay. So this can be correlated with PO2. Similarly, we have to write the program outcomes in such a way that they should have a clear-cut correlation with the program outcomes. Okay. So how to find out the relationship? Okay, CO and PO relationship. So now we are moving towards that how we can measure the outcomes, okay, of a student using the different subjects and different laboratory work and project work. Okay, so for that we need to establish a relation that is called the CO and PO relationship, course outcome and program outcome relationship. So each CO can be identified to address a subset of CO as we discussed. So based on the number of COs and the session dedicated to them, it is possible to identify the strength of mapping. So if your institute is going for accreditation, they generally ask for what is the mapping strength between the CO and PO. So mapping strength should be 1, 2, or 3. 1 is called the low mapping, 2 is moderate, and 3 is high. Or you can say strong correlation. Okay, so 1 is weak correlation. So after writing the course outcome, a teacher sit and take a printout or see the program outcome, and then they find out the mapping between the course outcome and program outcome properly, because most of the cases it is not properly understood and it may leads to a wrong calculation of the program outcome. Okay, so based on this strength of the selected POs, a CO matrix will be established. So we are going to discuss, this is the CO PO relationship matrix. You can see there are 1 to 12 POs are there in the this particular table, and these are the some courses are there, okay, from the civil engineering department, okay, where they have some COs, okay, and they have some correlation in terms of 3 dash means there is no correlation, 3 means the highest correlation or a strong correlation, okay. So it is based on the number of COs, how many number of COs we have, and that CO, as we discussed, it should have a keyword, action word, and that action word should match with the knowledge, skills, or behavior of a program outcome. So generally, program outcomes can be categorized in 3 parts. Okay, as I told that first is the knowledge, and second to fifth is a skills, and then 6 to 12 are considered to be a behavior. Okay. So how in outcome-based education system, how they are correlated. So the COs are correlated with the POs, and POs are correlated with the PEOs, and PEOs are correlated with the mission of the institute. So these comes to be all are in action plan to meet the vision of the institute or department. That is called the outcome. So if OBE framework, in summary, we can say this is a outcome-based education where we required have a institution vision mission, then department vision mission. This is graduate attributes, engineering graduate attributes defines the PO program educational objective. Then comes to the student outcome. Okay, and then before finalizing these outcomes, we take the feedbacks from the professionals and inputs and feedbacks from the stakeholders. Okay, and then come to the courses. We have a course learning outcomes. Then we have a process, teaching learning process, that is called the dealing with the teaching learning process. So in outcome basis system, so apart from the outcome, the process is also has to be quality check. Okay, so what process you are applying? So teaching learning process is one of the process that having the curriculum, they have the teaching methodologies, they have the learning activities, they have the different assessment tools, like they have what is the quality of projects, what is the quality of question paper framed. Okay, all those can be quality checked in a OBE framework. So this is the planning methods and planning in teaching and learning, that if we follow the process, then we'll have the course outcomes measurement, and then course outcomes will leads to a measurement of program outcomes, and then program outcomes will leads to a institutional assessment, that whether and then the course of action can be planned for the continuous improvement. Okay, and then we can go back to again we look the PO program educational objective after 5, 6, 7 years in the second round of cycles of the accreditation process, and we need to change accordingly. So now we come to the second part, that is called the attainment calculation. This is very important in case of a teacher perspective, how this attainment can be computed. Okay, for a teacher perspective, this is very important. So I'm going to just show some of the examples how this measurement can be done. So as I told that in OBE framework, outcome based education, every systematic things that they have given is measurable. Okay, how to measure that? Okay, so that we can know whether we have achieved the target or not, and then accordingly we can make a course of action plan. Okay, action plan, so that we can fill the gaps. So this is called the continuous improvement process. So the assessment should be in alignment with the COs. The first the thing we need to know, that assessment or whatever assessment we are taking in terms of a in-semester examination or midterm examination or any assignment quiz, that should be in alignment with the COs. That is the first requirement of a CO attainment process. Second, question paper should be set to assess all the COs. Okay, question paper, what questions we have asked, according that should be based on the Bloom's taxonomy level. Okay, and then Bloom's taxonomy level should be correlated with the course outcomes. Then third, the average marks obtained in the assessment against item of each CO will indicate the CO attainment. So for that, we need to take one threshold. So average marks can be one threshold for calculation of the attainment. So examples I'm going to show after this slide. Next, instruction can set target for each year of his or her course. So if I am an instructor, then if suppose I have a 6 course outcomes after teaching the subject digital electronics, then I will set the course outcome for each 6 I'll set the target for each course outcomes, and then try to find out what are the attainment levels. Okay, so attainment gaps can be therefore be identified, okay, after analysis and after the evaluation process. Once the examination is over, then you can find out what are the attainment level achieved. Okay, and then instructor can help to reduce the attainment gaps or enhance the attainment targets. So if there is some lacking in the duration of one semester, they can be improved in the next semester. So okay, I think it is covered, right? So for how to do the calculation of a course outcomes, so for that we need to understand what are the assessment methodology we have. Okay, program outcome and course outcome can be uh, that modified, and we can see here that what are the assessment method for the program outcomes. So program outcomes may have the direct tools as well as indirect tools. Our CO course outcome may have direct tools or indirect tools, right? So what are the assessment methods? Assessment methods are our test, assignments, seminars, okay, trainings, projects, internships, course end survey, exit survey, faculty survey, okay, and some maybe employer survey not listed here, alumni survey. So these are the different techniques. Indirect tools means there are the surveys based on the feelings, that how the stakeholders, what the stakeholders feels about that particular program, okay, and this is called the indirect method of assessment. Direct method of assessment is through our examination, test, assignment, laboratory work, seminars, okay, assessment of that. So I'm going to give an example. So first, before the going to the example, we need to set certain attainment levels. Okay, so as per suggestion from the NBA, it is expected that you should make the attainments in the level of 3 or 5. Okay, so I'm giving example of level 3. So where I will assess the student performance in terms of CO, not in terms of CGPA. Okay, so remember this, we are in terms of CO, if you make, so there will be 3 attainment levels. So here I am considering this the level of attainment is 3 only when more than or equal to 60% student achieve the above average marks. So I am considering average marks as a threshold marks, okay, considering all the examination, okay, including midterm, continuous evaluation, quizzes, and interim examination, okay, and if they achieve a certain percentage of student, like 60% of the student achieve above average marks, okay, for a course outcome, okay, then we'll consider as attainment is 3. Otherwise, if it is range between 50 to 60%, it is attainment level is 2, and if it is less than 50%, then it is considered to be attainment 1. Okay, this has to be decided by the teacher or maybe at the department level. Okay, so and also according apart from the threshold, we also need to decide the what should be the target attainment. Okay, the target attainment here mentioned is the 60% of the student must achieve above threshold marks. That means we are targeting level 3. Okay, so I am as a teacher, I am targeting level 3, but we need to see whether I achieve level 3 or not while doing the computation process. Okay, so this is the summary sheet that the CO attainment can be achieved for the different COs. So COs can be from ranging from 1 to 6. Okay, and we need to see that percentage of student achieve above average marks. Okay, so above average marks we compiled the marks from the midterm, interim, okay, and all other exercise. Okay, let's say it is marks of 100. Okay, and we have to categorize it the CO wise. Okay, so then I computed that 50% of the student only attend the CO1, only 45% attend CO2, and so on. So what will be my attainment level? So accordingly will be the attainment level. Okay, and then I set it the attend or not. So I set target as a 3. Then if I get a 3 in, let's say, in semester examination, then I can say it is a attend. Otherwise, I will consider as a no attend. Attainment is no. Then I need to make some changes in my lecture plan, maybe for the next semester, that why students are not able to achieve the attainment. Okay, why the average marks is going low, or why the student performance is weak. Okay, I need to identify the weak students. Okay, then accordingly I can modify my lecture plan for the next year. Okay, and some topics, maybe some students are, most of these students are not performing well, so I will take a few hours more in that particular topic. So this way I can make an action plan for the next year. Okay, so after the CO attainment, we come to the PO attainment table. So as per the process of outcome based education, you can see there are 12 POs, and we have the complete flow of the courses. So that can be 30 to 40 courses in a engineering program. So we need to list down how the attainments has been happened for the all the courses. So we just give an example of a one course. This is the CO attainment of a one course. Similarly, we have to do it for all the courses. Okay, this is the table. That this way you need to make the complete table for the attainment. That will give only the direct attainment, and indirect attainment can be calculated from the different surveys, as I told. So I'll give example of how to conduct survey in the next slide also. Okay, so the how to calculate the PO attainment. So PO attainment is a particularly for that we need to map a course first. Okay, as I told, the CO to PO mapping is very important. Okay, once you attain the course outcome, then you can attain the you can calculate the attainment of a program outcome only if we have a correlation. If there is no correlation, you cannot compute that, right? So the PO attainment, they will be based on the attainment levels of the direct and indirect. Okay, and if you talk about the weightage, 80% weightage is given to the direct assessment and 20% weightage is given to the indirect assessment. Okay, indirect assessment will be based on the surveys from the students, largely employers to the some extent. Okay, and some maybe alumni. Okay, and program may have different weightage with appropriate justification that this 20% weightage given to different stakeholder surveys. Okay, so how to calculate the PO attainment? So PO attainment can be computed by very easy processes there. If you have a mapping level, okay, let's say if you have a mapping level of 1, okay, and CO1 is attained as 3, so 3 multiplied 1 divided by maximum level of attainment, that is 3. So PO1 attainment comes out to be 1 because the CO attainment is 1. So if the CO attainment is 3, then PO attainment will also be 3, right? So this way you need to compute the attainments for the different courses. So here we have given example of a different attainment. Let's say the attainment from the for the PO1 is for the course 201 is 3. Okay, 302 is 2, 303 is 1, and 401 is 3. So we are taking example of a 4 course. It can be a 30 to 40 course, okay, including seminar, laboratories, and major projects. So then attainment level will be summation of the levels divided by the number of courses. So in different courses we have different attainment. For a one, that is called the knowledge. Okay, so how much achievement of the knowledge, engineering knowledge from the 4-year program for a 1 year, that can be computed by like this 2.25, 9 divided by 4. So 2.25 is the attainment for a direct process through the teaching learning process. Okay, then there is important point that is called the indirect assessment. So indirect assessment will be based on the surveys analysis, okay, and that we need to again grades in terms of 1 to 3. So if let's say from the surveys I got the attainment of for PO1, I conduct a survey and then got some attainment, okay, level 2. So then I will multiply 20% with the 2 and we'll get the first number from 80% of 2.25. Okay, and then we'll get the overall attainment, that is called the 2.2. Similar calculations can be repeated for the program outcome and program specific outcome. So this is the process of calculation from one program outcome. So I'll show that how it can be done in terms of a matrix. Okay, so we have listed down the various courses of a BTech program. Okay, and we have listed down the program outcomes as well as program specific outcomes. So here we are mentioned the numbers as a, these numbers are nothing but the mapping levels. Okay, and after mapping levels, and this bracket one is the attainment calculated as per the process of CO attainment and then COPO mapping and then PO attainment. Okay, so this way then we can compute the complete thing and then finally come to the conclusion that this is the attainment of a program outcome from the direct method. Okay, So for a particular year of a department of a program. Okay, so it has to be exercised for at least for 3 years if you are going for a aggregation process. Okay, so this is the example of indirect survey. So indirect survey we can take in terms of direct PO, that you can give in terms of questions framing, and whether they say that it is strongly agree or average. Okay, the levels you can give for all the POs. And this way, if you get the 100 responses from the alumni or student, then you can compute, let's say 47s are 3, 38 are 2, and 15 are 1. So then average comes out to be 0.773. Okay, that means in terms of level of 3, that is 2.32 in level of 3 for a PO1. Okay, so this is the computation of a PO1 attainment of a through indirect method. Okay, so then we combine together the 80% method and 20% method. So there is no bifurcation, like NBA has given the guideline that the courses should be 80%. Even those are programs going for accreditation. Okay, they have to fill the information through the online portal, and an online portal, it is fixed as 80%. Okay, and PO survey is only 20%. So you need to fill the things for all the PO and PSO, okay, for a program, and then survey also for the all the PO and PSO in, consisting of knowledge, skills, and behavior. Okay, and then what is the total attainment from a 1 year? Okay, that you can finally come to a conclusion. This is the my attainment levels, program attainment levels from the program for a 1 year. Okay, and then we need to set target. Okay, so if the target set was 2.3, okay, and we can say it is achieved or not achieved. If that number is above that value, so let's say the target is here 2.2, but the computed value is 2.1, that means it is not achieved. Okay, and in most of the cases you can see these are achieved. Okay, so for the achieved one, you don't have to make an action plan. Okay, and for the those are not achieved, then in that case we need to find out what are the gaps remaining. Okay, so like PO 3 are related with the design investigation. So maybe some courses have less impact on the design investigation. So next year you can plan more courses on the design investigation, or more some extra lecture by the experts. Those are courses are correlated with the design levels. So similarly, this kind of exercise we need to do for a 3 years, last 3 years, considering of current assessment year -1 and current assessment year -2, 1 and -2. Similarly, this has to be done for the first year courses. Okay, so these are the major exercises we are discussing based on these are discussing based on the basically for a program. Okay, not excluding the first year program. So for second year, third year, and fourth year. Okay, so in summary, PO attainment. So all POs can be adequately addressed through the selection of the core courses and their COs. Okay, and attainable targets can be selected for each of the POs. Okay, we need to set some target. Okay, based on our experience. Okay, is a department level you need to define. So then these measurement provide the basis for the continuous improvement in the quality of learning. So these facts and figure will give the idea where we are lacking, and then we can plan a course of action where to improve. Let's say PO related with the communication skills is not attained. So the department can plan the more number of lectures on the communication skills, or some workshops to the student about the communication skills program, so that it can be improved next year. And again we need to measure. Okay, and we need to measure what are the impact of the action plan we have made, and how it is going to implement to close the loop. And then we have to take a feedback whether those particular topic workshop was organized was useful or not useful. Okay, and whether they impacted the student in correct fashion or not. So all those things are involved. Okay, that is called the continuous improvement process. So it may not be achieved in 1 or 2 years, but over the period of time, it may be really helpful to achieve the continuous improvement process. Okay, and then I think next topic, if you have any query related to this up to this point, we can take some query, and then we can move to the next section. Yeah.
There is one query, sir, in the chat box. This is related to, it is kindly request to you that we want you to share this presentation soft copy to all participants if it is possible. That you
Okay,
can,
okay.
yeah.
Okay, sure.
Otherwise,
I will share the presentation with the organization so that they
yeah,
can circulate to the faculty members. Okay.
faculty members, yeah.
Okay. And one question I saw in the chat box, that how to decide the degree of correlation of CO and PO mapping. Okay, the course outcome and program outcome mapping. So it is generally recommended that what are the weightage given to the CO. Let's say I plan my lecture timetable in such a way I have 40 hours of lecture in a semester, and if I divide my 40 hours of lectures in terms of course outcomes, not lecture wise, in terms of course outcomes. Suppose I have 5 outcomes, and I'll give 10 hours for CO1, and others are 5 or 6 or something like that. Okay, so if I am focusing on 10 hours on the CO1, then the correlation between the PO, what is mapping with the CO, may be high. Okay, so it is suggested that how much time you have spent on that. Okay, so that should be a mapping level high. And if you are not giving so much of time during your curriculum, and accordingly, if you are giving so much time to that particular chapter or something, and you are asking so many questions on that in the question paper, so obviously that correlation between the CO and PO should be high. Otherwise, it may be kept as moderate or low. So any other questions?
Sir, it is again.
One is asking what is the drawback of outcome-based education system. Okay, so as such, it is like if you see internationally, so most of the international organization are following the outcome-based education, because before drafting any curriculum or before drafting any program, they say that this is the where they want to achieve. So they set the target, okay, and they set the target and do the exercise. So one of the disadvantage is that if we are in the institute, like you have research and teaching both, okay, so in that case some of the because there are so many process and so many calculations are involved, so you may find less time to compute all this exercise. Okay, so this is a time consuming process because quality checks are involved in each and every stage, so that can be one of the drawback, and I think other than that I'm not aware that what can be a drawback of this system. Okay, if there is no more question, then we can go ahead.
Yes, I think you can proceed further, sir. What I hold the opinion that there cannot be any drawbacks or disadvantage of this type of system. So far, the research is concerned, that is altogether aspects where terms and different approach is required. Here we are talking about, teaching a learning outcome, and it is taken care of at the international level also. Most of the
Yeah, it is
universities
international
doing,
level.
yes.
I'm talking about if you are in such an institution where, as a teacher, that if you are involved in the research as well as teaching, okay, then you have to give more time on this teaching philosophy and use of these practices as compared to the traditional method. So we require more time, more exercise need to be done. So in that case, sometimes maybe goes to here and few more remaining times that can only be utilized for your research activity. So as a teacher, you can say, is it is felt that most of the, like in our institution, MNIT, some are involved in the teaching as well as research. So some faculty members claim that it takes too much time to do all this exercise. That is only. This is my personal, you can say, opinion. It can be a different for others. Yeah.
Yes. Yes, please carry on.
Okay.
You are well, I mean, describing, you have well taking the sessions.
Okay, so I'm going to discuss one of the pedagogy related with the outcome-based education. So I'm going to discuss about the flipped classroom. Okay, so what do you mean by flipped classroom? Okay, so flipped classroom is a pedagogical approach in which direct instruction moves from the group learning space to individual learning space. Okay, so instead of teacher being taught, hello, yeah, yes, sir.
Yes, sir. Carry on.
Okay. Thank you. So it is a practice, it is a philosophy, or you can say pedagogy approach, okay, where the things can be taught in the different manner. Okay, so we'll see what are the advantage of this flipped classroom. So basically, instead of going into direct instruction to the student in the class, okay, we have individual learning space. I will tell you why. The resulting group space is transformed into dynamic interactive learning environment where the educator guides student as they apply concept and engage creatively in the subject matter. Okay, so this is given by the Flipped Learning Network in 2014 in one of the research paper. So the flipped classroom has the 4 pillars that is called the flip FLIP. L stands for flexible environment, L for the learning culture, I for the intentional content, and P for the professional educator. So what do you mean by flexible environment? Okay, so flexible environment means that a student will able to read the contents anywhere from the world. Okay, so for that we required some internet connections. Okay, now it is every most of the students are having mobiles and laptops for having internet connections. Okay, through that they can access their study materials shared by the faculty members. Okay, so this is called the the teachers can share their PDFs, video. They have short video on that particular subject or some chapter they want to basically contribute on that particular session lecture, that can be shared in advance. Okay, that then student has the flexibility to read one day before, 2 day before, or even half day before. This kind of flexibility will be there to the students because the content has been shared in the advance. Second, the professor creates flexible space when and where they learn. Like there is no time limit in the. Okay, so if you sending the materials that you have a number of times, okay, to study all that, even after that class also it is available with you, you can read out in terms of student. So flexible in student assessment of learning. Okay, so this will leads to basically different kind of philosophy, especially about the Bloom's taxonomy, where we talk about the different 6 level of engagement. So how it will affect, that we'll discuss. So student get opportunity to engage in meaning activities without teacher being in the centric. Okay, so they don't have to focus always on the teacher. They can read from the materials. Okay, and after coming to the class, when class is scheduled, they can directly interact with the teacher and ask their doubt directly. Okay, so that the Bloom's taxonomy level, like remember, understand, we the teacher should not have to focus on the remember, understand. That is a low level of thinking, right? So they can directly jump to the questions related with the evaluate, analyze, and design kind of thing. So second is the learning culture. So learning culture is this is a student learning approach. Okay, student have the access to the all the materials prior to the class. The class time is dedicated to the exploring the topics to the greater depth and creating rich learning opportunities. So that is why it has a different learning culture. As a result, students are actively involved in the knowledge construction as they participate and evaluate their learning in the manner that is personally meaningful. So whichever lecture they will like, they will read more and take more interest on that particular subject, and they can ask deep questions to the faculty members at the time of actual class. And then third important is the intentional content. So in the flipped classrooms, there are a variety of sources are available in terms of books, chapters, videos, like, and some learning materials from the different like NPTEL videos. All those things can be shared to the student. Okay, and teachers think about what contents to be developed and how it can be shared with the student, so that student will develop the concept and build their understanding as well as procedural fluency. What they need to teach and what student need to explore their own, so that teacher part need to be think and has to be taken exercise. So educators use international contents to maximize classroom time in order to adopt method of student centered active learning strategies depending upon the grade level and subject matters. So it is a full flexibility in terms of the contents. We can the teacher can recommend the international contents from the some other good universities for teaching in their class. Okay, then professional educator, the last point, the role of professional educator is more demanding in flipped classroom as compared to the traditional one. Okay, so during the class time they are continuously monitor the students. Okay, and after reading the subject, reading the contents from the online material, teachers come to the class directly and they can take directly quiz or assignment or give some problems to solve, so that they can judge the understanding of the students, what they have understood for that particular topic. So teacher would available to the students. Okay, and for the individual, they give some small activity in terms of groups, and they can take feedback from the real time feedbacks from the student, what topic they have understood, what they are lacking. All those things can be directly discussed. So teacher can analyze observations and by recording data to inform the future instruction during the assessment. So teacher can learn from their mistakes, that if the some study material are not up to the mark, then he can take feedback from the students and then correct himself and produce good learning materials, so that student will get benefited. So if we talk about the Bloom's taxonomy, is it discussed that the general convention is from remembering, understanding, applying, analyzing, evaluating, and creating. Okay, in opposite, but here the Bloom's taxonomy is reverse, because it is a flipped classroom. Okay, the flipped classroom, that the contents are available with the students now. So before class, the student will focus on the two things: they can remember and understand the particular concept. Okay, and during the class, they can apply based on the activity given, analyze the things, and after the class they can be ready for evaluating and creating the concept, and they're applying for creating the new things related to the particular topic. So why you have to classroom? What is the advantage? That flipping that speaks the language of students. Okay, so it helps busy student. If some students are busy in some other activities, so he can have a sufficient time, okay, to all those things. Okay, so they can cover it later, okay, as per their usual time and non-usual timings. Okay, so flipping helps struggling students also. Okay, so if they find the material is not good enough, there are so many doubts related to that topic, they can ask to the students while connecting through emails or any other social media platforms. Okay, and flipping helps students for all the abilities to excel. Okay, so these are the some benefits of the flipped classroom. Flipping increases the student interaction also, so that student can interact with another students, that they can discuss the particular topic, and if they find some problems in videos to the teacher, and then directly they can report before coming to the class also. Okay, and the flipping allows for real differentiation between the different students of learning, what is their understanding level, so that teachers can work on their different levels of the students. Okay, and the most important is that flipping educate parents. Okay, so all those contents has been shared to the students, and if it is informed to the parents, then they can be taking care that the students are giving sufficient times to read, or those topics are not in advance before coming to the class. So this is a very good technique. Okay, and this pedagogy should always drive the technology, never the other way around. So this pedagogy has flipped classroom come to the technology, and the various technologies like Google Classrooms, they are using the flipped classroom techniques, okay, to implement in the institute, teaching learning institute. So this is very, very important that technology follow the pedagogy, okay, not the pedagogy follow the technology. Okay, so the same implementation has been done in the Google Classroom. You can see that because of the thing flipping your classroom accept you from being a good teacher. Okay, so teaching is much more than the good content delivery. Okay, the flipping will not make your job easier. So because you have to work out about the different kind of materials, different kind of video formations, okay, and assessing the student during the class, what they have learned from the written notebooks, textbooks, okay, all those things are important. So how to implement the flipped classroom technique? So these are some methods that we need to plan it. Then after planning it, we need to plan out what things to be put in the website and what not to be in website. Okay, what to be planned, when to be taken class. Okay, and what duration of the class should be there, and how it is different from the online material available. Okay, the recording the things, instead of teaching this lesson in a person, make a video. Okay, screen cast the works, all those things are important. Share, they send that videos to your students. Okay, after recording the content, you can send their student, make it engaging and clear. Explain the videos content will be fully discussed in the class. All those things are practice, good practice. Change, now that your student have viewed their lessons, they prepare to actually go to in depth than ever before. So earlier, if you are taking the few concepts that you can skip, and you can go to the direct advanced topics after sharing the materials or videos to the students. And group, you can group the student and discuss the activities related to the particular topic, and know that what is the thinking of the student related to that. Regroup means get the classwork back together to share the individual group work with everyone, and we can say that what one group has done and what other group has done. So after the sixth step, review, revise, and repeat. So always there is a chance of improvement. So we need to review after implementation of the few lectures, and then revise the contents and repeat the same. Okay, some other strategies that can be used in the in-class activities. Okay, so along with the flipped classroom, that active learning, peer instruction, collaborative learning, problem-based learning, this can be a part of the flipped classroom. So in active learning, the allows student to apply concept in class, where they can ask peers and instructors for feedback and clarify. Peer instruction means student to student ask another student. Okay, and they work together, discuss together what is their understanding. Okay, this is called peer instruction. Collaborative learning activity would increase student engagement, enhance student understanding, and promote collective intelligence. If you give the examples in a group. Problem-based learning always useful to the students. Okay, in terms of mini project during the class. Okay, and their performance during the understanding about the problem-based learning, how they basically challenge the problem and how they come to the solutions. So these kind of activities can be involved with the flipped classroom. So Google Classroom is a very, very basic example of a implementing the flipped classroom. We can share the contents. Most of the teachers are using nowadays because of the pandemic situation, and because of the online teaching also. Okay, they might be using Google Meet, but Google Classroom is really helpful if you have recorded videos, and the recorded lectures. We can share with the students, and we can discuss with the students with the certain problems online in the direct platform of Google Classroom. So what are the cons of the flipping the classrooms? There can be a cons like that if this model is unsuccessful, student don't do advanced work, because this required a student exercise. It is a student centric learning. Okay, outcome based education is always student centric learning. So if student don't do exercise in advance, then, and if they have not sufficient internet connections available with them, then how they can see the recorded videos, all those things. So these are the challenge remaining with the flipping the classroom. So students who are unable to complete the advanced work evening before find themselves either unable or ill prepared or participate in the class activity of the following day. Means they will feel shy while participation in the different activity of the next classroom. So if they are not well prepared, so this is the cons of the flipped classroom technique. So we required following tools for flipping the classroom. So we can use YouTube, slide and sites, different sites, links, social media platforms, devices. These are the useful gadgets for the flipping the classroom. And these are some references, okay, from my lecture. So I'll stop here. I thank the Sankara Institution group for providing me the opportunity to speak in front of all the faculty members for this curriculum workshop, teaching pedagogy workshop. Thank you very much, sir. If you have any other questions, we can take.
One question has appeared in the chat box. How we can differentiate between traditionals and outcome-based education?
Okay. So traditional method, as I told, the traditional method are considered to be based a teaching centric approach. It is called teacher centric approach. Yeah. So what teacher delivered the knowledge and student are grasping the knowledge. This is the method in traditional education system. But in outcome based education system, it is called student centric approach. What is expected from the student? So teacher has to prepare that the contents and deliver the same that fulfill the expectation of the students. I means after learning the class, what student should get acquire the knowledge, what kind of skills they acquire, and what kind of behavior they acquire after learning the subject. So this is the major difference between the traditional and outcome based education system. Sir, any other questions?
There is no excellent sessions or very good when the participant has said it. And because outcome-based education is completely where in the process students are involved. In the teaching process, students they are involved. It is not a unidirectional as it used to be the traditional methods, where teachers keep on speaking, taking I mean from the books. He keep on explaining, and the students they are active or passive learner. He does not know about it. But in outcome-based education, it's a process where students themselves are involved. More weightage is given to the projects, assignments, taking their feedbacks, changing our teaching methodologies as per the requirement of the students. That is there.
Yes,
so
correct, sir. Correct.
Very nice to hear you. You have timely, closed your this deliberations. Sir, stay with us for another few minutes because Shankara Institute of Technology, they want to honor you with some memento or certificates. And for the participants, yes, sir, it has come. That
thank
is
you very much,
our
sir.
token of love and reverence to you. We will be sending to you through your mail. You will be getting.
So I thank Sankara Institute of Technology as well as the RTO quota for this event and inviting me as a guest talk, sir.
Yes, sir. Thank you very much for your closing words, sir. And to the participant, now tomorrow sessions will start at usuals at 10 o'clock. Please be there by 10 o'clock. Thank you very much for today's sessions, and good day to all of you.